Ciao loves, welcome to Drawing Down the Stars, and this is Gemma with your 5th lunar month reading, or the new moon in Punarvasu. Now this month is all about the return of lost promises, or the softness that greets us after the storm. In this month, we step into a profound but a very subtle lunar cycle. It is a meeting of what was forgotten, and that forgotten is primarily the promises that have been woven into our soul and also that we have echoed to ourselves. So this isn't just any new moon, because we have quite a few unique alignments as we prepare for the total solar eclipse in August, so next month, which is right on the heels of that. Now, this lunar cycle, or beginning this lunar month in Punarvasu, which is ruled by Jupiter, the great benefic, it marks a point of a return, of a renewal. And it's commonly called, or it's commonly understood as the calm after the storm. Now, I say this a little hesitantly because not all of us have endured a storm. However, what it is there might be some uneasiness with self, some uncertainty, or even some restlessness in the previous months of this year that has now kind of subsided a bit. So that's what this month is about, is allowing the waters to kind of calm down so we can get a better understanding and also see what we might have forgotten in the mix of everything. So when there isn't a storm, or there is turbulence, or there is uncertainty, or even unsured thoughts about self or environment, we forget about what lays deep within our heart. And that's really what this new moon is trying to reawaken within us. Because this moon is conjunct with a Mercury retrograde, right on the moon is the retrograding Mercury, and it all takes place in Jupiter's lunar mansion, while Jupiter, the ruler of Punarvasu, is exalted in Cancer. So we enter a month of rewinding and also of reawakening. Mercury retrograde, a lot of people say, don't sign contracts, don't do ma certo, però, but Mercury retrograde is actually a special connection, especially when it's retrograding in its own sign of Gemini. It is rewinding the duality nature. It is a nature of coming back into center. Anytime Mercury goes retrograde, it's actually an inward pull of prana that strengthens our pranic life force, or i.e., the connection between the mind and the body, or the levels of the mind. Now, it works prana life force because it's retracting in. That's why signing contracts and travel, all of those outward endeavors are counterproductive to the nature of Mercury, which is to pull your life force inward and to strengthen an intuition or a connection between the inner mind and not so much the outer mind. So in this month, as we begin this rewinding, it is, for a lot of us, a softness that is offered to our nervous system, a subtlety that begins to settle some unseen restlessness within our subconscious mind, but it's also a reorientation towards promises that we have forgotten. So this may be a goal that you set out a few months ago in the beginning of the year. It might have been an inspiration that you really wanted to put forward, but something has gotten in its way, or you've kind of lost your path. And it might be something to where it is your spiritual practice or something that is called upon you for daily consistency that you've kind of let fall to the wayside. Now, this month is about the reorientating of those wins. So if you are reimagining that life, but it was never enacted, this month is going to bring it forward, and then the eclipse is going to bring things into not a totality, but a switch. That role switch will take place. Okay, so Mars is currently in the 12th house of Taurus, and it is 12th from the moon. So working quietly in the background, it's working to restore our material foundation. It's working to give life force, to destroy things that aren't working, but also to help reorientate. And with Saturn's aid currently in Pisces, we are integrating actions that finally call those past inspirations into physical form. This is a karmic time, if you will. Now, this alignment is here to align souls, to facilitate care, and also to reorientate us towards realization of abundance. And abundance, again, isn't just in material form. It's abundance and enjoyment of your time. It's the abundance of your love. It is the abundance of your friendships. It's the abundance of what makes life more rich, what enriches us, which thusly restores us. It is also the abundance that makes us want to become or are inspired by. Okay, so Punarvasu in the ancient text translates to the return of light. It aligns in the deeper esoteric meanings souls, and sometimes it aligns the embodiment of a soul. It also, in this position with these stars, is how the light is shown and we find inspiration to move forward. Just like a lighthouse in the night where, if you were on a boat, imagine a stormy night and crossing seas, you see a lighthouse. It brings hope back. So that's a little bit of what this month brings, is a reorientation of that light, especially if you are crossing rocky waves and you've had some turbulence in the light. It's asking you to find your direction back to what inspires you. So if there has been any turbulence, imagine that this is a point where there is reprieve that has been waiting you. It's not just a break, but it is the space and the calm that calls you to return to self and calls you to return to your own inner light. It's the space that is needed for us to rebuild lost desires, to refine inspiration, to rekindle ourselves back to hope and back to ourselves. Now, with Mercury in retrograde, we're forced not only to look inward and to strengthen the connection between the levels of the thinking mind, which is the lower mind, and our intuitive mind, which is called the higher mind, but it is a restoration of your life force or prana. Because prana rules not only our mind and animates our body and is also connected to how we enliven or how we feel revitalized, right? So when our mind is over excess, we feel drained, right? So there's the connection between mind and life force. But this pranic channel is what is allowing us, this Mercury retrograde, is helping strengthen that channel between the higher mind and the lesser mind. It shifts our everyday understanding into orientating into like inspiration, intuition, maneuvering between more of the higher mind and less of the lower mind. When that happens, be mindful, because right now your energy is sensitive. Everybody's energy is sensitized. During this month, be a little bit more mindful of all of the forces that require your attention, whether that be people, habits, actions, environments. Be mindful of the things that pull you away from the promises you made to your own soul and the promises of your own inspiration. Become so innately aware of the nature that does not nurture you, and find time, space, and courage to retract yourself from those things. Remember, I said Mars is 12th from the moon. This retraction with the help of Mercury retrograde and Saturn is going to help the reorientation. Any time in Mercury retrograde that you pull away from excess sensory stimuli or pratyahara, seeing, speaking, eating, any of that, you're going to double down on strengthening your pranic forces, which is very important in terms of revitalizing the body and or strengthening your subtle body. Now let's look at the cosmic architecture here, because Saturn is currently in Revati, which is the last 13 degrees of Pisces. Now this is astronomical astrology, Vedic astrology. It's not based off of a tropic system. So its exact position, if you look against the stars, Saturn is at the very end of Pisces, which is ruled by Mercury. So Revati, the lunar mansion where Saturn is governed by Mercury. We have this trifecta or this triangulation that is happening. What this does is it builds a foundation of divine support, a new way of creation that is working both intuition, inner mind, creative potential, all with this kind of inspired purpose. Now, when Mercury is in Punarvasu, Jupiter's mansion, and Jupiter currently is in Saturn's mansion, you see we have Saturn and Mercury's mansion, Mercury and Jupiter's mansion, Jupiter and Saturn's mansion. It's like this perfect triangle of the higher wisdoms into the messenger. Saturn and Jupiter and Mercury are a of a god. It's a triplicity of gods, if you will. And what this is in this triangulation is we have a planets of wisdom and spiritual evolution that are forming a relay of communication. Not only that, but this month is going to begin to unfold that relay. We're being asked to work with our inner development through the lens of service and attention, not outer awareness, inner attention. So there's this beautiful part that will transpire during this 5th month. You will begin to feel lighter, more optimistic, find more moments of inspiration, find more moments of just ease, of just trust. Now that's your cue to tap into the energy at play. Can you approach your life as if it were that easy? If it were a bit of a game? If you are the divine creator? If all of this were within your control through the mind, how would you see and relate to the world around you? How would you receive the energy that you are working with? That's what this month offers us. Not only a new perspective and a spark of inspiration and a return to our promise, but also, hopefully, to step onto a pedestal and shift the way we interact with the very world around us that we are creating. The energies this month will offer you an incredible ability to bounce back from setbacks. Imagine you are in that game. If you get hit, if you lose a life, you respawn. You come back renewed. There is no way that you can't come back. So start again. Arm yourself with the knowledge of how you want to move through your world, of the steps, the missteps. Play like you cannot lose and own this month. This is a fantastic time for you to tune in to these subtle energies. Anytime Mercury goes retrograde, that's when we hone in that felt knowledge, not learned knowledge, not what you acquire, not what you were told, but what you sense. We're heightening our senses beyond the physical form to navigate the here and now. For us, only karma, only life exists in the present. That is the operative word of this month. That is the echo of these planets and these alignments, is presence. This month will work and shift your relationship with your inner world that's calling upon your optimism, that is beckoning your faith. Can you maneuver with dexterity? Can you be determined yet maintain a light-hearted approach? Can you hold with determination that inspiration and that promise within your heart? Not from fear, but from trust and faith. This moon urges us to move towards the light, to return to the promise of what we seek. And through the moon and its placements of Punarvasu, we are awakening a soul that is resilient, awakening a body that is nurturing, and tapping into a deeply optimistic and purposeful mind. It turns us into a guide for others who have lost their way, especially if you are a teacher or feel called to service. This is a time within you because you carry within you the wisdom of a storm that you have survived. You carry within you the game that you survived, the play that you have known how to maneuver through. So let's hold space for how we maneuver into this world and how we want to maneuver into this world. hold equanimity. Because Punarvasu, being an optimistic time for new beginnings and a return and an introspection, is also an awakening of that wisdom from personal experience, not only in this lifetime, but many lifetimes. And that's really Jupiter's gift, especially into this sign, is can we take the knowledge that has passed through us from ancestry, from generations, from lifetimes, from experience? Can every individualized thing come into one, as we are all dynamic human beings, but in one individual form? So here you are invited not to go deep into the mind, but go deep into the spirit and know that the inner workings of the mind have already guided you there. Not the thinking mind, the sensory felt mind. This brings a different type of cognitive awareness, and it helps us access unconscious information, to unveil secrets within ourselves, to know the secrets within all, and to observe the inner workings of our mind with crystal clarity. So use these forces that are within you. Life doesn't happen to us. We are the carriers of these influences. They are a part of us. So with Saturn and Revati and Jupiter in Cancer and K2 moving the outward self in Leo into the spirit as the forefront, this is a deeply spiritually reviving time. It's an invitation. The present is a calling. You have to answer the promise that you made to yourself that hides within your soul, and that is the seed of your inspiration. Thanks again for joining me. And if you'd like a reading, visit my website. You can also just message me directly on Instagram and check out. I have a retreat in Tuscany. Would love to have you, hosting with Yoga Download, September 26th through October 4th. In addition to that, you can have a personal one-on-one reading or just share your love and your comments. I always love hearing from each and every one of you. Lots of love. Until next time. Tanti baci. Ciao, ciao.